Thank you so much for this wonderful film, and I want to congratulate you on all your success.
Thank
Why
you.
don't we start from the beginning? When and how did you get started with hatching, and how much did you work with the film's writer, Ilya Rosti, to shape the story?
Yeah, it all started in 2014 when Ilya contacted me and said that he has this one sentence idea in his mind that a boy hatches a doppelganger out of an egg.
Mhm.
And I just thought that that is so cool idea, and I have never seen a film like that before. But immediately I told him that I want to change the lead character into a girl, because I feel that I haven't really seen many films with female lead characters that I could really relate to, and I'm really missing to see more of the stories and female side of the story. So then we changed the lead character into a girl, and then we really developed the story and wrote the story together. And I really started to think about this one sentence that he had, and I think that, okay, if the girl then is hatching something, so for me it tells that she's trying to hide some of her emotions, maybe some sides of her character. And in hatching there is a theme of motherhood and theme of growing up, so all these themes of the film really started from this one sentence. And then in the script we really worked very closely in the whole script process, kind of talking about everything and developing the script together. And then he was the screenwriter who wrote the script.
Oh, excellent. And did you? I mean, obviously, from that answer, you sort of always envisioned this film to be a horror sort of creature film. How is it like working within the parameters of this genre? I know you said you wanted to make a sort of a horror film for people who don't like horror films. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, well, that was really, it was important for both of us, both Ilya and myself, to tell this dramatic story through the horror genre. So neither of us wanted to make just kind of jump scare film just to scare people, and we really want to use all these horror elements to tell this story about the girl and her mother. And because I think that the daughter is not really, that she feels that she's not really enough for her mother, and the mother doesn't really love her fully as she is. So I think that is horrifying. And but for myself, I have always been afraid of horror films because I have so strong imagination that I immediately start imagining all kind of monsters in my wardrobe, kind of like this girl has. Yeah, so I really wanted to make this film kind of the film that is not just all about scaring the audience with, well, it's also that, but it tells the story through the horror genre.
Yeah, and what I really liked with the film, that you didn't over rely on non-diegetic music. I found that very impressive. It was a lot of silence that was sort of the creepiness of the film, which I was very impressed with. I would like to also talk about the actors now. So I think both Siri and Sophia gave a wonderful performance. Yeah. Where did you find Siri Solalina? And how did you work with her to get this performance? And then I would also like to talk about Sophia Hekala, who played the mother, and where that character came from, and what she brought to the character.
Yeah, well, I really knew that this double role of Tinia and Ali is super demanding, and she has to be also or has to play gymnast, even though we had also stunt double for her. But so I knew that this is super demanding. So we auditioned 1,200 girls all around Finland, and finally we found Siri, who had never acted anywhere before. And she had just turned 12, and so she was just a natural talent, and she was so wonderful. And so we really had long rehearsals with her and all the other actors, and just to make her feel safe and kind of understand what it means to be in film and to be with these professional actors. So we were basically in the rehearsals, we started with all of us crawling on the floor and playing monsters, and then we rehearsed all the scenes and talked about how Tinia, the character, is feeling in these scenes, and we had stunt coordinator for her to practice all the fight scenes, and I discovered that Siri is just so naturally talented in discovering all different kind of ways for this ugly creature to move. So I really used basically her ideas in these movements, and we kind of crawled on the floor and I tried different ways for the creature to move. And for me, what was very important was that she's, especially since she's such a young child, so that and this is kind of a scary and weird film, that she is safe and that I don't kind of mess up with her own emotions. That, for example, if she has to portray fear, it's important that she feels that she doesn't feel afraid herself. And so it was very important to me to direct only the fictional emotions of this fictional character, and so that she could kind of feel safe herself. And also Sophia, yes, Sophia also. I mean, she's wonderful, and also I found her through the auditions. But of course, she's a professional actor, and she was just she's so good. And what we really discussed with her is that this mother character is someone who is kind of always, maybe she's trying to find happiness, I think, or something, by kind of behaving in a very loving way. And I talked to her that I think this character mother is someone who is unfortunately unable to feel love, but she tries her best in a way. She tries to kind of act in a very loving way, and she kind of thinks that in order for her to find happiness is her daughter to fulfill her kind of broken dreams in succeeding at sports, and for her to maybe find the feeling of love is to get the love from her viewers of her vlog, these anonymous viewers, and so that's why she kind of tries to portray the whole family and her life in a very kind of perfect way.
Yeah, she just had this wonderful blankness to her performance that just wonderful. So this brings us up to the creature itself. How did your team create her, Ollie? And did you use CGI, or was this all practical effects? And what was the most important aspects that you wanted to bring to life with Ollie?
Yeah, well, we first of all, we started to design the looks of the creature in Finland with two wonderful concept artists, Petteri Mäkinen and Emilia Lindholm, and what I was describing to them, what I wanted this creature to portray, is that first of all, it's when it first hatches, it's totally deformed, and it's so deformed that it can't even walk properly. So it's totally opposite of what Tinia's mother wants her daughter to be, this perfect gymnast, and it's totally disgusting, something that it's so disgusting that nobody could ever love it. And it's also kind of anorectically thin, because we have this subtle eating disorder theme in the film, and I was describing to them that it's kind of like a smelly teenager, that it's raging to its parents and at the same time just wants to be loved. So I really wanted it to be not an evil character, not a predator, but kind of also very innocent character. So I wanted it to have very big eyes. So it's kind of like all instincts open. And then I also knew that I don't want it to be a digital character. I wanted it to have real physical presence. And I had always admired this kind of rawness, maybe, of this practical animatronic puppets, like E.T. and old Cronenberg's films and the old Aliens and so on. So I wanted it to be an animatronic puppet, which means that its facial expressions move with remote controls. So, and I knew that we need the best possible person to make this puppet, and I wondered where to find that person. So I Googled the best animatronic designer in the world, and then I found Gustav Högen, who has been the lead animatronic designer in Jurassic World and Star Wars and Prometheus. And so I found his email address and sent him an email that basically like, hello, I'm Hanna from Finland. I have a film. Can you make a puppet? Low budget, but good story. And he had just finished the latest Star Wars films and wanted to do something that would really highlight his work. And he got excited about this film and story and about our concept images, and he collected a wonderful team to create this puppet. And in the shootings we basically had 5 puppeteers around the puppet, moving the puppet with rods, and we had Gustav with remote controls moving the facial expressions and fingers, and so there was a lot going on. But basically all you see in the film with this puppet monster, with this bird-like monster, is what we did on set, what those puppeteers did, and they were super pro. They had been working in several Star Wars films, and they were so nice. And just in some shots we enhanced the pupil movements and some nostril movements with VFX. And we had a wonderful VFX company, U Media from Belgium. And then later on, when the creature evolves, it was a special effect makeup on actors. And then we had Connor O'Sullivan, whose work I have been admiring. He has 2 Oscar nominations. He has been the makeup designer in Game of Thrones and The Dark Knight and Saving Private Ryan. So I also contacted him, and he and his team created these special effect makeups for us. And later on, when it looks like the girl, then the eyes are a bit weird. So that was a CG effect. And in the end, when the whole face kind of breaks, so that was full CG. So it was really a combination of several effects, but mostly practical effects.
Okay, oh, excellent. So speaking of the film's locations, also, which I thought was a character in the film as well, where was the film shot, and what did you want to make the environment feel like? And I sort of was reading it as a sort of a commentary on, this is society as well. So
yeah, well, we shot the film actually in Latvia, and I was really aiming to find the locations that almost anyone anywhere in the world, kind of in upper middle class areas, can feel that, oh, this could happen in my country, except that for everybody it's a bit weird. So luckily after a long search, we found this suburb with this kind of nice white houses that all looked just alike, and it was so creepy because they were all so alike. And then we really designed the whole look of the film in a sense that I wanted to create for the audience a kind of uneasy feeling, because I wanted to show the world of the film as Tinja experiences it. So she kind of experiences that there's something weird about the dynamics in the family, and she just can't tell what it is, and she's very alone. There's no other life for her except the gymnastics that the mother wants her to do and the home. So for example, in the streets we never see any other people, and in the yard there are no birds singing, and it's quite quiet. And that's what I wanted to get, this kind of weird quietness. It's kind of too quiet. And the whole set design, I wanted to create this kind of mother's world that is kind of only kind of light pastel colors, because mother doesn't allow any strong emotions, and there are no dark shadows because mother doesn't allow any dark secrets. And there are all those things that you would consider to be lovely, like rose wallpapers, but there's just so much of those things, and they are so kind of perfectly in order and so matching all the colors that it becomes kind of scary and dead. So that's what I was aiming at.
Yeah. And what was the most difficult part of the shoot? And also, what was the most rewarding part of the shoot?
well, well, of course, it was very difficult to shoot with the puppet because it's so technical,
Mm.
and even though we had these super best possible puppeteers, it always takes multiple shots to, I mean takes to make every movement to look like that the puppet is alive and it's not just a puppet. And so that was very kind of technical thing, and also in the very beginning the bird flies in the living room and is crashing everything. So that day we had a real live bird in the shootings and we had to crash everything, and that was kind of also a lot going on. And but of course all that is also rewarding. It's all, I think it's always the when something is very challenging, it's also I like challenges, and it's nice when you as the whole crew kind of succeed together, and that is wonderful. And it was always rewarding to work with Siri and see her performing, because she's so natural talent and she's so lovely girl.
Oh, wonderful. And so what would you say, as you said you weren't a big fan of the horror films yourself growing up, what would you say to people who do not like the horror films and to make them come see Hachi?
Yeah, well, I would say that in this film, first of all, we didn't want to make it in type of film that, you know, is just to aim to only scare you. And so we really wanted to tell this kind of story of mother and daughter through this genre. So yeah, I wanted to make this as kind of film that even the people who are afraid of horror films could watch it.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yeah.
So I mean, we touched a little bit upon this. Who or what were some of the influences in making this film?
Well, yeah, I usually, when I start to plan the story and the visual style of the film, I tend to not think about the references or something, because that might only confuse you. But because those films are already made. But we did talk with Ilja Rautsi, the screenwriter, that this film is kind of like twisted version of E.T. for grown-ups. So that was something like a reference that we had. And about the special effects. So that was kind of my idea, was this old school Cronenberg's films and so on that I had admired and that I wanted to have there. And also maybe something that wasn't reference for this film or the film style, but one kind of important film for me was The Others by Amenabar, because that was a film that I watched when I thought myself that I don't know, I hate horror films, I don't want to watch them. and then I watched The Others and I was like, oh, but this is actually a very beautiful and strong and dramatic story, just told through this genre. And then that was kind of the first realization for me that how rich the horror genre can actually be. And after that, I have to civilize myself to watch loads and loads of horror films to to kind of get myself on the on the chart. So and I was terrified of watching them until I kind of got used to them, and then I really fell in love with the whole horror genre.
So my last question is if I could ask about your next project, will you stick with the horror genre or will you be branching out?
Yeah, well, I will stick with that. We are now co-writing our new feature film with Ilja Rautsi, the same screenwriter, and so that is a fantasy drama with horror elements, and it tells about a woman who becomes a mother, and she has very high expectations for herself, how wonderful it will be to be a mother. But when the baby is born, she suddenly feels that this baby is just weird. She can't connect with that baby. It's so demanding, and it just screams all night long and sucks blood from her breasts. And she starts to be convinced that this baby is actually, it can't be human. It's something else, and it's very scary. So it tells about this kind of difficult emotions of motherhood. So we are sticking in similarish themes in the new one as well.
Excellent, excellent. I can't wait to see it. Well, thank you so much, Hanna, for joining us this morning or this afternoon. And thank you to IFC Films. The film will be opening in theaters on April 29th. So I hope you tell your friends to come and see it. And I hope to see you back at Scandinavia's very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.